Howdy, everyone. Tad Stevens on the Micro Success Secrets podcast, where we focus on business, psychology, marketing. You can use that in your business daily and long term. Today, I'm talking with Tim Shurr, who has been a hypnotist for 30 years. He optimizes unconscious programming, which increases health, happiness, and prosperity. Tim's written 5 books, including Power of Optimism, Get Out of Your Way, and One Belief Away. Sorry about that. Tim, how are you doing today? And let me know if I missed anything.
Hi, Tad. How are you? No, I think you covered it really well. I've been helping people to achieve their goals and figure out what gets them stuck, what gets in the way for 32 years now. I've been researching. My degrees are in psychology, yet I found that talk therapy was too slow, and I wanted to help people get immediate results. And so I got into peak performance strategies like hypnotism or neuro linguistic programming. If it was cutting edge, I was studying it. And it's been over 3 decades now. I've facilitated over 15,000 individual hypnosis coaching sessions and truly discovered the secrets for how to optimize human performance and how to help people to go from where they are to where they want to be rapidly.
Okay, well, this is great because I have questions I think that are along those. I've got one specifically about being stuck, but we'll do that in a little bit. What I like to start with is giving people some background on how to get where they want to go. So what I usually start with is, if you could change something in your life, one thing, you could go back in time, you could change it. First off, would you change it? And if you would change it, what would you change it to?
So that's an excellent question. And so I'm just going to tell you the answer. My answer for me personally is, if I could go back and change something, of course, there'd be many things that I would like to change, but we learn from our mistakes. We use our mistakes to become stronger. So I think what I would do, I'm 50 years old now. What I would do if I could go back is, I've been married for as long as I've been in business. So for 25 years, and I would make my wife more important than my business. That's what I would do personally. I would make my wife more important than my business. And most people, most people are not expecting that answer. And I think most people should do that, and they don't.
Well, the reason I said wow is that is an awesome answer. I mean, I have yet to hear anything along those lines, but from my perspective, it makes sense. I mean, it's just, why wouldn't you do that? And I never really thought about it. But answering that question, though, that is an awesome answer.
Yeah, we don't think about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we don't think about it, Tad, until we're older and we look back and we realize, we all, as guys, and women are driven in slightly different ways, but as guys, we are thinking that the way that we take care of the people in our family is by making more money, giving them nicer stuff, right?
Right.
And all of those material possessions. And we hear about how important it is that, the most important things in life aren't things, but you don't really get it until you're older and you recognize how many times you put the business, you put the money, you put chasing of the money in front of the people that have always been there for you, the people that have been your biggest fans and your biggest supporters. And sometimes people wait until it's too late. And so if I could go back, I would make those adjustments. As soon as I started realizing how much I was making, I got to get this done though, or I was making my laptop or my smartphone more important than my wife, I started making those changes. And I'll tell you what happened is I started attracting more prosperity into my life when I wasn't so anxious or stressed about trying to make money. And I was actually having more fun with my wife, and we were brainstorming together, and I was taking her advice instead of going so fast. And then afterwards hearing her say, "Oh, you should have done it this way," and then getting defensive about it. Yeah, sounds familiar to anybody that's a business owner or an entrepreneur, because we have a same personality type. So when you start to recognize that, you're like, oh my gosh, because most of us will say that we're driven to make a purpose and make a difference in the world, but that's not originally what drove us. What originally drove us was anxiety, or proving ourselves, or having a chip on our shoulder, or feeling like we weren't enough. Or we had to work for ourselves because we were too wild to work for anybody else. We were unemployable.
That's me.
So that's what I focus on. when I'm coaching somebody, when I'm helping somebody, I've been a coach, a hypnotist for 32 years. And so I understand what's driving us at an unconscious level. And when I focus on those areas, when I focus on your beliefs, people want to know, how do I make more money fast? Is it a marketing technique, a sales thing? Should I use a different funnel software?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's the software running in your head. It's the beliefs that you have that need to be upgraded, because that's where your biggest breakthroughs happen.
No, that is huge. I'm going to get a lot of great quotes, or we're going to get a lot of great quotes out of this one. That excellent answer. So, kind of related to that, do you have one, and you may have multiple, but would you share one point in your life super positive, and you look back on it, and it's one of those kind of things where you look back and you say, oh, I remember everything before that and everything after that. I mean, it's one of those, dividing lines in your life that you look at that way. Do you have one that you'd share with us on that?
I do. Great question. Thank you. So as I look back on my life and I look at the patterns, this is what my business life has looked like. Okay. So winging it, trying to figure stuff out, finally find something that works, keep it for a little while, and then something shows up and it crashes. And then what do? I hired a coach. A coach helped me to understand that you can't just be a good practitioner. You got to be a good business person. You got to have systems and a model to follow. So I started learning that, and I would go up again and I would build it up. And then I watched the second plane crash into the Twin Towers in New York City live, and my business crashed again. Okay. So then after that, I'm like, what do? I hired a coach again. And then it went back up a little bit higher. And it's kind of like you go down, but then you go up higher next time. You go down, but you go up higher next time. And every time I dipped, I hired a coach, right? And it was either a coach to help me with my beliefs, or it was a coach to help me with my marriage, or it was a coach to help me with my business. It was a coach to help me with wherever I felt I was stuck and where I needed help with. So the one positive item that I always find that really helped me succeed in my life, in every area of my life, was hiring a coach, having a second pair of eyes, having somebody else that can feed back what you believe about yourself. Because one of my coaches told me, he said, Tim, you can't see the label when you're in the bottle. You can't be objective with yourself.
Oh, that's a quote. Oh, that is, no, I haven't heard that one before, but that is excellent. I mean, it's very visual, and I mean, I understand it just as soon as you said it.
Yeah. So that is something that has helped me. And one of the reasons why I became a coach, because I understand the struggle. I understand the frustration. Entrepreneurs, we love momentum. It's not about being happy or sad. It's about, are we making progress? And if we're not making progress, we freak out. That's why the TV show Shark Tank, we call it Shark Tank, because sharks always have to be swimming forward. If they're not moving forward, they literally drowned. And that's how entrepreneurs and business owners feel. If we're not making momentum, if we're not moving forward, we feel like we're drowning in our own stress, angst, anxiety, worry, pressure, fear. And then that causes our brain to get squeezed, so to speak. And then we're not recognizing the opportunities that are always around us. They're always here. The universe does have your back. It just doesn't feel that way if you have limiting beliefs that are interfering with your vision.
Yeah. And maybe you can help me. I mean, I never can remember the name of this, but with your background, you may have heard of it as well. There's a condition that we have as humans whenever something is in front of us, is on our mind. It's the number one issue on our mind. It takes on a disproportionate level of importance to us. It becomes more important than it actually is. And so we get stuck on that thing. And like you just said, the universe has got our back. We don't see all this other stuff. I always like to say that, you can't open the door if opportunity knocks if you're down in the basement. I mean, it doesn't work. So, which leads into the next question, is getting stuck. And you mentioned this at the first, and this is what I was going to ask. As entrepreneurs, as people creating something, being creative, we get stuck, or at least everybody I've talked to gets stuck at some point. And they usually have some things, methods, techniques that they do to get unstuck. And it can be something, as small as copywriting, getting writer's block when you're doing copy, or, maybe doing like when you were talking about, when you hit one of the dips, you did something, you had a process that you went through. Is there a thing or things that you could share with people how do you get unstuck? What would you recommend?
Yeah. So I have a 5-step process that takes 2 minutes. So it's super
Oh,
easy to do.
super.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. I like taking complicated strategies and making them simple and streamlined so that you always have a path to follow. You always have a checklist. I love creating checklists for people so that it feels easy so that you never get stuck again. Okay. So step 1 is you pause and breathe. And you breathe through your nose specifically. I call it power breathing. You breathe in through your nose, down to your belly, and then you slowly exhale. When you breathe in that way 5 times, it activates your relaxation response, okay, which causes your brain to feel more calm and at ease. Because if you're down in the basement, like you said, you can't even get to the door if you hear it knock, right?
No, you can't.
Yeah. And so we got to pause, because most of us, we want to go faster. We want to try to figure it out and throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. We want to go faster, but that's like being in a car on a patch of ice and your wheels are spinning on the ice and you're just jamming on the accelerator. You're hitting the gas pedal,
trying to go faster.
Going anywhere. Yeah, you're burning up fuel, but you're not moving. You got to take your foot off the gas, let the wheels catch. Okay. So you start with your power breathing for just a minute, even if you got to sit there, close your eyes and just pause for 30 seconds. If you have a hard time doing that, that is your first red flag. This is where you need to go. See, your biggest breakthroughs are hidden in the places you don't want to go. Right. And so when you have resistance, that should be a red flag. I need to go there. So if sitting still for 30 seconds to a minute makes you feel tension, that's what you need to do. Right. Your big breakthrough isn't out there. It's in here. It's in your head. Right. Happiness and success is an inside job. Step number 2, you focus on the outcome that you want. Let's get focused again on the outcome that we want, because most of us get focused on what we're afraid of, what we don't like, what's not happening, what's missing. We get focused on being stuck, which makes us feel more stuck, because what you focus on expands. So we want to make sure that we're always focusing on what we want, the ultimate outcome and the benefits of the outcome. Not, I want more money. What do you want once you have all that money? I want to feel peaceful inside. Right. I want to be able to spend more quality time with my family. You could do that right now. Right. So, but we put these obstacles in our way. So we focus on the outcome that we want. Then the next thing we do is we watch for the clues to show up. Okay. We watch for the clues to show up. And because once you start focusing on what you want to pay attention to the clues that show up. And then whatever shows up, you take action on it. Okay, whatever thought comes up, you might get an email from someone, you might have an idea, you might think, you know what, I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk, just clear my mind. I'm sure you've had this, Tad, where you've had the best ideas in the shower.
Oh, yeah. I hate it because I can't pick up my phone and make a note.
I know, you're hanging outside. Hey, Siri.
Trying to wipe my hand off or something to touch. Yes, no, I've been.
We all do it, brother. I know we all do it. Yeah. And so, we have to, we have to watch for the clues. Sometimes we got to take a walk. Sometimes we got to listen to some music. Maybe we watch a 5-minute inspirational video on YouTube to reset. We call a friend who makes us laugh. Right. And so that would help us to be able to pay attention. And then when the clues show up, you act on it. Okay. So that would be step number 4. When the clues show up, you act on it. All right. You have to act. Joe Vitale always says money loves speed. Right. And so when you have an idea, when you have a miracle, I call them miracles. When a miracle shows up, you got to act on it. And as soon as you do, it takes you to the next step. And it's like the universe says, oh, you're being serious about this. You must want this. Let me give you some more clues. Let me give you some more clues. Right?
Yes. Yeah. I know.
And then step number 5, and then I'll go through them again real quick. So step number 5 then is, if you still need help, get a second pair of eyes involved. Right? So ask your spouse, ask your friend, talk to someone who, if you don't have a lot of money, trade services with somebody. If you have the extra money, hire a good coach, someone who's already been down the road that you want to be down, because they can tell you where the potholes are. They can help you to notice what you're focusing on. So step number 1, pause and breathe through your nose. Okay. Step 2, focus on the outcome that you want and the benefits that you want from that outcome. Step number 3, watch for the clues to show up. Watch for that miracle to appear, because they're always around you. Your mind just has to tune into it. And then if you need help, go for a walk or listen to some music, or, call a funny friend, something like that. Number 4, when you notice the clue that comes up, act on it immediately. Take action. If you're driving through fog and you can only see 10 feet in front of you, drive that 10 feet. And you know what happens? The next 10 feet appear. Yep. So that you drive that 10 feet. Okay. And then after that, if you still need a little bit of help, get an outside pair of eyeballs to help feed back to you. Hey, do you know that you just said this to yourself? Or, hey, what's the creative opportunity in this experience right now of you feeling stuck? Maybe it's because you don't want to go in this direction, or maybe it's because there's some kind of fear holding you back. A good coach will ask you questions and help you to go within, and that's where your answers are. There's an old saying, Tad. It says, when you learn to go within, you never go without.
And when you were saying that, I think you were on step 2, maybe 3, but it popped into my head that one of the neatest things, and it has nothing to do with business, one of the neatest thoughts, one of the neatest clues that ever came to me was one morning when I was shaving. Mindless stuff. I just cleared my mind. I wasn't thinking of anything. I was just shaving. Yeah. And I had been reading a lot of Zen at the time. And one of the questions was, what is the sound of one hand clapping? And I thought about it. I never went and looked it up because I wanted to figure it out. And so I never looked it up, and it took me like years. And I finally just gave up, quit thinking about it. And it just popped in my head when I was sitting there shaving, looking at myself in the mirror. And it's like one of those, it just, wow. And it was so simple. And for the listeners, I'm not going to tell you what the answer is because finding or letting the answer come, having the answer just pop in was cool as the answer. I mean, it was as good as the answer for me personally. So, those are great steps. The 5 steps are wonderful. I think I've probably experienced all of them multiple times, but I never thought about putting them together like that. So that is super. Really appreciate that. So, I mean, you've learned a lot going through all the different ups and downs that you were talking about, going down the road, avoiding the potholes, hitting a lot of them, learning from it. If you could start over from scratch, if you had, say the internet went away and you couldn't do internet stuff, or speaking went away and you couldn't do speaking, and, whatever, or just, you lost whatever gigs or lists or you had, what would you do starting from right now?
Excellent question. So that just happened, right? I went through a dip again. Because of this global pandemic. I had all my keynotes scheduled for the year and they all literally disappeared overnight. Yeah. Lost 90% of my income, that was coming in and all that. And so I had to pivot again, and I did. To answer your question, okay, so there are 2 things that I would do. Okay. The first thing that I would do is I would find out what people are really struggling with and then give them a solution. Instead of figuring out what I like and what I want to do, I figure out what are people wanting to buy. It's easier to sell something to somebody if they already want to buy it, right? Instead of trying to talk them into it. So figuring out where the pain is or how people want to create more pleasure in their life. So I would focus on that. Once I figured out what that was, I would focus, and this is the hardest part for people like you and me and your listeners and your viewers, focus on one area. Just one area. One.
Not all 10.
Here's the visual for you real quick, Tad. So you go in the backyard, you dig a 1 foot hole. Oh, there's no oil there. So you move over a foot, you dig another 1 foot hole. There's no oil there. At the end of the day, the whole backyard's full of 1 foot holes. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're filthy, and you never hit any oil.
And you never got any oil.
You got to take one hole and drill down so deep, 6 months or more until you hit oil, because you will grow and you will strike something, but you have to stay focused on one
you gotta focus.
Item.
Absolutely.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
And another super analogy. I can see my backyard that way. So Tim, really, really appreciate you taking your time and sharing with us today. This was awesome. Going to start wrapping up now. Is there anything that you'd like to close with, and anything that you could offer to the listeners and the viewers?
So thank you for that. Yeah. So first of all, the one message I want you to know is believe in yourself. believe in you, believe in your dreams, believe in your ability to reach them, believe that you are already enough, you have nothing to prove, and that as you bring more love and joy into your life, you're going to be able to share that love and joy with those around you and with the people that you serve, like your customers, and you will find that you have abundance in your life in ways that you could not have imagined before. If you need some help with that, I've got a free checklist. You just go to timshurr.com and scroll down the page, and there's a mesmerizing mindset secrets checklist. I talk about these checklists. So I created them so that you can have a stellar mindset and learn how to attract more prosperity into your life by retraining your mind for success. And so if you go to timshurr.com, just scroll down the page, get that checklist. That'll get you into my email newsletter. And then I have so many different programs that you will be amazed how exciting it is.
All right. So excellent. And I'll make sure that all those, the links and the instructions and contact info and all that is in the show notes and in the description wherever we happen to post this. Thank you again. Really appreciate your time and sharing. Thanks everyone for listening in. Have a safe and productive week and be the very best at whatever you are at. Until next time, this is Tad Stevens, Micro Success Secrets. Bye for now.